guys, it's Heather at Homeschool Culture. In today's video, I'm going to show you our family subjects. So family subjects, if you don't know, you do obviously as a family, as the title suggests. But what is so awesome about it is that you can really spread what like Charlotte Mason likes to call a feast of information and material for your kiddo that you might not have time to do in independent work, but you can do it here in family subjects. And it's usually something that you can do across various age groups and grades. And so I have a 5th grader who is just turned 11, and I have a 15-year-old 11th grader. And so what we always do is we start with prayer, and we always do a Bible study of some sort. I've used devotionals, I've used a Bible curriculum. Probably mid-year last year, we started listening to a podcast, and she speaks Hebrew and she reads Hebrew, of course, and then she also reads Greek. And it is kind of just opened our eyes into like just a lot of information that I've just not known as I read through things in the Bible, because I don't understand Hebrew idioms, and I don't ever really dive into like Hebrew names and their meanings and all that. And so it's been really, really fun just to go through that with her. It's at a podcast called God's Little Hummingbird. So we like to listen to that. And we also are going to pick up this year, it is a Proverbs study. I just really felt convicted one day. I was reading a Proverbs. I was like, I love this. I love these things. These are things your kids need to know. And so it's a devotional for mothers and sons walking in wisdom through Proverbs. And even though my daughter is going to do this with us, I think it will benefit her as well, because I talked about this in the haul video where I showed this. But if it's something that I want him to know, then it's definitely something that I want her to know when she is in that period of life where she starts dating and all of that, which is at least 3 years from now. She's only 15, that she will be looking for a man who, maybe has these qualities, or even in friendship, or going places of work, all of those things. I think this is just really, really vital for our kiddos to learn, as well as for ourselves. So I'm excited about that. In our family subjects, we don't do a lot of written stuff. It's mostly just enjoying learning different things. I do a little bit of memorization work, which would be a little bit more classical, I guess. But we don't do a whole lot of written. But I've thought about this year maybe introducing a time period, even if it's like a 10 or 15 minute break at the beginning. So do our Bible study, go about 10 or 15 minutes, and then do some type of Bible journaling for what we learned that day. Or maybe do the Bible journaling as we go along, like you would, like if you're sitting at church. And so she already kind of has something that she started herself. So I went ahead, because there wasn't very many pages, I went ahead and just put Bible study on here. And I'm thinking I'm going to get myself one, and then also my son one, and then again, either Bible journal as we're going through the lesson, and or like when we're doing this Proverbs book, there are some questions, and just kind of going in and writing things down and maybe discussing. Okay, so the next thing is poetry. We keep it simple. We just literally, she actually does it. She likes to read poetry, so she'll read a poem a day. If it's short, sometimes she'll do multiples. And it's the Treasury of Poetry for Young People. I have never actually seen this book as a hard copy like this. And so it has Carl Sandburg, Robert Frost, Emily Dickinson, Edgar Allan Poe, Walt Whitman, Henry Longfellow, and that's it. And so what we'll do is we'll probably start, and I'll let her read through, and give the summary of the poet, and then just start at the beginning and start reading a poem a day. So that is what we're going to do. And we'll just see how far we get, and then maybe pick it up again. If we don't finish the book this year, then we'll pick it up for the next year. And we do that daily. It really doesn't take very long. And again, it's just reading it, maybe doing a quick little discussion if they enjoyed it, that type of thing. And we don't go in much more than that. Okay, the next thing, kind of along the same lines, but we will not do this daily. We will do it probably, if I'm being honest, we'll probably only do this once every couple of weeks. And that is art study. And so I love this book, The Story of Painting. It's a heavy one. I've done the Simply Charlotte Mason's picture studies, which I think are awesome. But I did those for so long that I was like, I wanted something different. And so last year we were doing South America in our geography. And so I did a lot of art that related to that. This year we're doing Asia. And we're also doing medieval history for my son. And so I thought what I would probably do is pick up and get some and do some things in here, which includes early Christian and medieval art. And there's a few spreads of different artists and artwork in here for that. And then there's also some artwork in this book. If y'all can see the title. Even though it's the ancient world, we're not doing ancient world, but there is still some like Eastern art in here. So when we're going through whatever country for geography, I'll try to correspond it. Again, we did so much art study early on with my daughter, and she loves art. My son, it's like I try to get into it with him and he's just not as fond. And so since we are limited on time, we kind of just, again, I might pick a couple of art pieces a month to just discuss and look over. The next thing is nature study. And so I picked up this Law's Guide to Drawing Birds, and I decided that we are, as a family, because again, she loves birds and so does he. And we're doing an actual big study over birds for his science the first term. But we are going to spend one day a week, 15-20 minutes, and start practicing drawing. And then if it's something that they enjoy, then of course I will, support them working on it throughout the week as well. It's not something that I would take away from them. So that's a lot of times you'll find, at least in our house, if I introduce something to them, they're like, I really, really like it. And they will spend time outside of our family subjects or independent work working on it. So yeah, so we're going to work on this, and we are not artists. I say that all the time, we're not artists, but I'm going to at least attempt to draw some birds. So when we do nature journaling, we can, it looks decent. And then we will go on nature walks, but again, it's Texas. So like until maybe November, it's super hot outside. And so I really want to work on this, these first couple of months that are super hot. And then when it cools down, get outside some. We live out in the country, so we're kind of outside a lot anyways, but maybe being more family studies, morning basket time, but we will just get out on some of those really, really pretty afternoons here in the fall and spring. Okay, the next thing is geography. So we love geography in this house. Last year we did South America, we did North America before that, and now we're on Asia, and we have never done Asia. So we've done everything else besides Asia in Australia, like Oceania area. And so here are some of the books that we use for that. Well, the biggest thing is I use the map. And so we have, I'll probably bring this out. This is just a world map. We'll look at where it's at compared to the rest of the world. And then I have a map like this for every continent. And this will be out every day that we're doing group subjects. This will be out for them to look at. I have a video, I think, on how I do geography. There's this book right here. I don't even know who it's by, to be honest. Sherry Payne. And it is Around the World in 180 Days. You can use this like as a high school, in my opinion, like as a high school geography class, like for 1 year. I use it for our morning basket or our family studies. And so what I really like about it is it's broken down, and it actually has a lot of good resources for history and for geography. What I love about it is, like when I do my read alouds and things like that, I can pick from some of these books that they suggest. Some are missionary studies, some are just fiction books or historical fiction, things like that. And so it's really an awesome resource to have. I love this book. But what I like to go over first is, like right here, it goes over geography. It says, use an atlas, encyclopedia, textbook, and or library books to find these answers. Now this is the teacher version, so the answers are already there. But we go over things like the largest continent on Earth is, and so we learned that, like Asia is the largest continent. The highest place on Earth, which also is Asia, is at Mount Everest, located in Nepal. The lowest place is the Dead Sea, which is located between Israel and Jordan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all these geography facts about Asia. And so the first week, I'll just kind of read over these, and then and I say quiz them, like, hey, what did you learn yesterday? Or do you remember that Asia is the largest what? And hopefully my fifth grader will say continent, things like that. And so I just try to keep it simple, but it's something that I think is a lot of fun for us to go over in the beginning before we start diving into the countries. And so I use this for various things. I read through it. And so like when we're learning about Japan, I can talk about, okay, did y'all know Japan has 150 volcanoes, things like that. And so I can just use this as a reference for me to just give them more information. I got this book this year on Amazon, I believe, and it is Asia's Geography Activity Book. So in the years past, I have tried to find a book on every country and kind of just read through, and I would do a country a week. Well, Asia has so many countries in it that we're going to have to double up a lot. I plan on just kind of going over tidbits of each country, which it allows me to do because it has all of that right here instead of trying to find a book for each one. And what we end up doing is we will write the country on one side of the card. So like for Mexico, you're at the country on one side and then capital on the other. And so I'm going to continue with this because it just helps us. So this is the part of geography we do every day. Learning about whatever country we're learning about that week will only pretty much for the most part go over that day, although we do tend to love watching YouTube videos on it. So we usually seek out YouTube videos on the country that we're interested in. And while we're eating lunch or something like that, we'll watch YouTube videos. And so it's not necessarily during morning basket or family subjects, but we will extend the learning into our lunchtime by watching a video about whatever country we're learning about. So for instance, if we're learning about Laos, then we'll do a quick search and try to find, sometimes it's a 3 or 5 minute video and sometimes, up to an hour, and we'll just kind of divide it over a few days. And my kids love that. Another resource I use is this called Amazing Earth Book by DK. And so you can see I already have, I don't have all of them, but I have some in here. So once I get to Vietnam, we will learn about a specific area in Vietnam, and it's usually a 2-page spread. And this specifically is about a bay. And so I will read about the bay, and then if it's something that's unique, then I will utilize this book. If you have never seen this book, it is Geography from A to Z. It is very, I know, elementary, yet it is amazing for all grade levels. And it never hurts just to go reiterate what a tundra is or what a bay is or a peninsula or whatever. It's a small little bit of text usually for each one. And it just helps reiterate that prior knowledge that they already have. And it just reinforces it really. So I love this book. Another thing is People of the World. And this is an older version. And National Geographic, I bought it used on thrift books or eBay or something like that. I did not spend a fortune. And even though it is an older copy, it's still very, very relevant. And so not every country will be in here in depth, but a lot of stuff that you might not find in some of these other books is found in here. So it's kind of cool. And again, it talks more about the people that live in that region. Okay, so this last book is Introduction to Asia. It is a Usborne book. And I'm thinking that I'm going to use this as my spine. I think I'm just going to start in the beginning. Because I kind of was I don't know where to start because Asia's massive. It's so huge. Where should I start? I think I'm just going to start at the beginning of this. And it seems like it hits almost everything and in little detail. And so between this and all these other resources I have, I think this is how I'm going to start. And so again, if it starts with, I think it starts with Russia. So yeah, so it starts with Russia. And so we will, just to kind of give you an idea. So we'll talk about Russia. I'll find, talk about in the peoples of the world. Is there anything in Russia from this Amazing Earth book that I can bring in? Things like that. And then I will start adding the countries and the capitals to this as well. Because again, like I said, we actually do this daily. And for the most part, we memorized pretty much all of South America and some of the Caribbean last year. We didn't get as much of the Caribbean done as I wanted, but I figured we can do that. Next, roll around into North America. Okay, 3 more things. Hang with me. We have read alouds. Now, we are slow at read alouds. I'm just gonna say that because sometimes if I'm running out of time, the read aloud gets put on the back burner. But we love read alouds too. So we're going to do the Burgess Bird book once a week. And again, I know you're but you have a high schooler? She loves this stuff. Your kids probably will too. And so we're gonna do the Burgess Bird book one day a week. When we finish that, I will get into Seabird because I've never actually read this one and she's loved all of these books. And so that is one day a week. Okay, so for the Christian Heroes Now and Then, we need to finish Gladys Allward. We're going to do Hudson Taylor and then Count Zinzendorf I might start or I might hold off until we hit Europe. So I'm not sure about that. Last two things. We are starting Hebrew together as a family. My daughter already has her foreign language for her transcript. So Hebrew is just going to be kind of like an extra elective. It's not necessarily going to go towards that requirement. And so we got the first Hebrew primer, or primer, however you want to pronounce it. And it comes with this, and then an answer booklet. And again, the lady who does the podcast, so she actually has a Zoom that she's already started with a group of ladies. And so we're just going to pick up the YouTube videos that go with this. And so we are going to, and she's an awesome lady that if you message her on Messenger, she will talk to you and help you in any way possible. And so if I have questions or anything, I know I can reach out to her specifically. So we're going to start that. And so I've got my daughter, I just picked this up real quick. I got my daughter a book to go with it. And then I need to get myself and my son as well some type of book for us to, because I think I saw it said earlier, we don't write for anything. We're probably going to have to write some for this. I really haven't decided how much my son is going to be involved in it. If it's just going to be more verbal this year for him versus my daughter and I will be doing a lot more written stuff. I don't know yet. So if y'all have done Hebrew in your homeschool and you have any great resources, please, please, please put those down below because I would love to see what resources you're using or have used so I can maybe add those as well. And that will be daily. The very last thing is going to be our trivia games. We love trivia games in our homeschool day. Again, it's super simple. Now, I am throwing in, I showed this a couple of years ago and my son just wasn't ready, so I was like, I'll just put it up. But I am going to throw in this vocabulary game called Super Sleuth. And we will do this one day a week. We always do a Professor Noggin one day a week. So I got the birds one since we're doing birds unit. And then we've already gone through all the countries of the world, but we'll just go through them again. I wish they had like an Asia one or something else. Brain box, all around the world. I will say this, if I had to choose, in case like you're new to homeschool or you're new to buying trivia things, if I had to choose between these two, it would be Professor Noggin all day long. I just feel like it's a lot, well, at least for the purpose of how we use it, it just benefits us better. And it's simple. Like I'm going to show you just real quick. Each of us take one card. We go through each question. We don't roll the dice and do all that. We read through the questions, we try to answer it, and we move on. And we all take a turn. And it's that simple. And believe it or not, since we did this over and over last year, your kids really, really do just start remembering these things. And then also guess in 10 countries of the world. We'll do that once a week. And then I think I already showed this on a video, but we love playing games. And we haven't bought a game in a long time. So I got the world game, fun geography board game. And we will probably, maybe not once a week, but maybe once every couple of weeks. On a day that we have extra time, pull this out and play around. Or stop early and say, okay, we'll play this at lunch or after lunch or something like that. So that is everything. I know this is a long video, so I apologize. But I just think it is so, I just love the concept of family studies. I absolutely love this concept of family studies. It makes so much sense. It takes so much time. If I try to do all of this individual with my kiddos, I mean, there wouldn't be enough time in the day. And again, I like the benefit of we are learning things together. And so once we go through all this, we have this prior knowledge. So we go out in public, we're watching a movie, or at a museum, or we're out in nature, and something gets brought up that we all learn together. And we have that moment where we can stop and discuss it. And even if it's just reminiscing of, remember when we got to do that, or remember when we learned that, it's just a fun time. And it's an amazing bonding that is one of the reasons why I love homeschool. It really is. I value this time so much. And if you're on the fence of, I don't know if I have time for that, make time. There are times in the year where I'm just like, do we have time to do this? And I notice when we don't do it, it does disrupt the day. There's something about all of us gathering, praying together, doing the Bible together, having fun with, these types of things together, learning new art or poetry. There's just something that you will miss. You will miss if you don't do it. If you have any questions on any of this, let me know. If you have any resources that you're like, oh, Heather, you should try this, put those down below, because there are a lot of things that I show y'all are suggestions from past years and things like that. So I love y'all's suggestions. Okay, I hope you have a super blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.